Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tekken Talk number 10. Today, we will be talking about Tekken's growth. And by growth, I kind of mean growth in all different meanings of the word. So, general popularity, monetary growth, how Bandai Namco invests in the game, how the game compares to other popular video games, such as Valorant, Rocket League, etc. And I will be kind of breaking down, I think, four components that go into growth, or kind of four aspects of growth, and focusing mainly on the Bandai Namco side of things. So, to premise this episode, the reason why I decided to record it is because there was some conversations on Tekken Twitter recently about Tekken's content creation growth, mainly sparked by King J. And King J had a really great discussion about Tekken creator growth on his Twitch channel, which I'm assuming will also be uploaded to YouTube. It's a podcast format where he invited a bunch of content creators who are generally smaller, with a couple of exceptions, on YouTube. And by smaller, I mean like sub 20K subscriptions. And they basically went over holes in Tekken's content scene, as well as what it takes to become really a full-time content creator. So, in contrast, I'm not a full-time content creator. I will just make podcasts when I have the time and when I think there's really something important to talk about. But they mainly focused on people who are really looking to go take the jump from the weekly YouTube video to this is my full-time position. And so, what are these four components to Tekken's growth? So one, I'll call them the four C's. So the four C's are community, content, customers, and corporate. So to just kind of break them down one by one, I'll start with content. So content is, of course, the media generated by the community or Bandai Namco that people involved in Tekken consume and watch. So this is largely what King J was talking about, but it can really range from anything from YouTube videos, such as tutorials, reaction videos, or combo videos, to Tekken streams, either on YouTube or Twitch, of either gameplay or tournaments hosted by Bandai Namco. They could be local tournaments. Basically, any form of media. This also includes Twitter accounts like Tekken Gamer, Tekken Reddit, which I'm not really on, but is of course a pretty popular way of consuming Tekken content, and any sort of articles that are published online. So that even includes stuff like IGN coverage of Tekken. Then there's community, which I want to contrast to customers. So when coming up with this list, I was deciding between customers or casuals, but I think that a healthy viewpoint is basically if you buy Tekken, if you play Tekken, or even if you watch Tekken and engage with Tekken on a fairly regular basis, I think you're part of the community, both the FGC community and the Tekken community. There's no like clear bar like, oh, you have to play every day 1 hour or make X number of tweets or whatever. As long as you're engaging, excuse me, by the way, as long as you're engaging with Tekken on some level beyond this is just a game you picked up or a game that was gifted to you, you played the story mode and then you never played it again, I think you're part of the broader community. And so that's in contrast to customers who are just people who buy the game, play it once, put it down, and that's it. But customers are important for, sales numbers, right? So Bandai Namco generates a lot of money from their initial sales of the game. And so even if those people stick around or not, the sales figures for the game are generally important, as well as, of course, the playing numbers and the community. So we have three so far, and then there is, of course, corporate. And so by corporate, I mean Bandai Namco. Bandai Namco is the company that makes Tekken, They are, let's see, I think a $7 billion plus company. So the revenue in 2023 was so far was 7.2 billion, and their profits at the end of last fiscal year was 2.8 billion. So they are a very large company. They are the producers of games like Tekken 7 and Soul Calibur, and they contribute to growth by things like marketing. So we've had all these character trailers, of course, making new games, making those games as feature rich, as accessible, as fun, as beautiful looking as possible. So I think most people would agree that besides the unfortunate leaking situation, that the Tekken 8 build-up has been pretty well done. I think there's some controversy about how effective character trailers are and whether or not they're somewhat outdated. However, overall the game is looking great. Everyone who's played it has said it's pretty enjoyable. The new game modes are all very exciting. The visuals look amazing, and they seem to be taking into account a lot of community feedback, which in general I think is great. So there's marketing. There's also the tournaments that are officially sponsored by Bandai Namco. So, excuse me, I'm just drinking some tea. So, for example, the Tekken World Tour is really the primary tournament where, through the course of the year, players around the globe will compete at either local tournaments hosted by local community members or travel to larger tournaments such as what they're called challenger and master events, which kind of refer to these larger tournaments that have been held year over year at specific locations and generally attract an international community to go and participate and try and earn Tekken World Tour 2023 points. And if you get enough points, you can go to the final tournament, which in this year will be in New Orleans, Louisiana. And there's also a last chance qualifier there where players will go, and if I think their top three will qualify for the very final tournament. What else is on Bandai Namco's corporate side, right? There's also merchandise. So we've seen action figures, we've seen mouse pads, we've seen custom fight sticks, and all of these can contribute to quote unquote growth, both monetarily and from a fan base perspective, right? Because if Bandai Namco puts out some official artwork, for example, there's going to be lots of artists who take inspiration from that and put their own twists on that and post their artwork to either social media or sell it online. And the whole ecosystem kind of hopefully grows as time goes on. However, there is still kind of this elephant in the room, I guess, which is there are a lot of content creators and there are a lot of community members who are essentially very passionate about the game and work very, very, very hard to produce content for the game and to support the game. And unfortunately, are not really monetarily rewarded from a monetary perspective as they should be. So there's kind of this gap where in lots of other video games, right, we can look to other video games that are just more popular and have a greater number of sponsors and more money in them, where there's just more opportunities to become full-time talking about Tekken or talking about that other game respectively. But there's no reason, I think, and I think a lot of people think, why Tekken can't get to that place to have more opportunities so that the people who love the game can, you know, talk about and work on content or develop or whatever for the game full time and have Tekken be an even larger part of their life. So naturally, this abstract growth term is what leads to more and more opportunities within the scene. And I wanted to talk a little bit mainly from the corporate side, so mainly from the kind of Bandai Namco perspective of what could be done, in my opinion, of course. Note, I am not a business or marketing person. This is just my kind of observation from being in the community for a while, as well as participating and, you know, viewing content from other larger communities. So what can Bandai Namco do to really grow the game and create more and more opportunities for people to kind of get involved and not only make a career out of it, but just to have like more and more stuff, prize pools. It's better for the players, it's better for the community, it's even better for the customers because there is a pipeline, of course, from becoming a customer to becoming a community member, and we want that pipeline to be as streamlined, as easy, as frequent as possible because the larger the community is, in general, the more diverse and the better things are produced content-wise, the bigger your community becomes. Or let me rephrase that. The number of high quality pieces of content um, tends to increase. As far as proportions go, I can't really comment on that. Um, but so one kind of initial thing I think Bandai Namco could do to kind of grow Tekken is obviously put more money towards community events. So I'm not actually talking about prize pools. I'm more so talking about hosting more invitational tournaments. Um, a huge part of the fighting game community that I think most people love, including myself, is that most of the major tournaments, including the flagship fighting game community tournament, EVO or Evolution, is an open bracket, meaning anyone from anywhere, assuming you can get to the venue and pay registration, can enter and have a chance to win the tournament. And this is simply awesome because it means if you're grinding the game and you're really sick at the game, you can go and show to the community, hey, I'm really good at this game. I can beat anyone. I can go far in a bracket. And, people should know about me and basically watch my streams or pay attention to my tournament runs such that uh, I get more opportunities for things like invitationals or whatever that player may want out of it, right? That player may just want to go like, beat up beat up the top players that they're familiar with or just go have fun. But either way, it's really great, not only from the competitive standpoint, but also from the person who just wants to go meet people, play in a bracket, and seek to either improve or or as I said, meet people, um, foster a sense of community. There's really just mainly pros about open bracket events. However, big open bracket events are like really large open bracket events are few and far between. So each year there's maybe only a couple really, really major open bracket tournaments. So there is the Evolution tournament, which is by far the biggest FGC tournament. There is Combo Breaker, there's CEO. Note, I'm pretty sure the Hado is in charge of, or no, the Hado is in charge of Combo Breaker and Evolution, I think. And then Jabali is in charge of CEO. There is also, I think I'm missing another American tournament. But there's also Evo Japan. There's also, um, I think those are the biggest ones I can think of that are like truly, truly massive. Let me know. I think there's a London tournament that is also pretty big, but they're few and far between. And as far as viewership, these tournaments generate by far the most amount of views, the most amount of people restreaming these events, and also they tend to draw the highest level of competition, which is ultimately a large part of why people view the tournaments because they like seeing high level Tekken, and specifically they like seeing high level international Tekken at big events. So, kind of maybe a bit of a proof of this is that the Tekken World Tour Finals hosted on the main Tekken channel is by far their most viewed tournament besides Evo that is streamed on the Tekken channel. And this is partially because one, they market it very well. Two, the production value is pretty great. Three, people know if I'm tuning into the Tekken World Tour Finals, I'm seeing top level international competition. So I'm seeing people from country A play against country B, and I'm seeing my favorite player compete against basically all the other top players. And in Tekken specifically, the kind of country A versus country B dynamic is extremely important because people in the community and people who watch Tekken largely feel there are play styles associated with different regions, which I think in general is more or less true. There is kind of internal fun, playful, kind of casual debates or lighthearted. I should say lighthearted, maybe not like playful. That's a little weird, but lighthearted debates among like which region is stronger and so on and so forth, and that really fuels a lot of the discourse around competitive Tekken. And so Bandai Namco, I think, has it within their means. Again, this is in terms of things they could do to grow Tekken internally. And just, I'm going to reiterate this $2.8 billion in profits last fiscal year. So I'm pretty sure if the funds were allocated, there are funds to be allocated to do this. But just simply have more events that are international competitions that are either invitationals or partially invitationals. So, like semi open brackets. And I think we've seen kind of like a lot of success from other games as well as kind of just global events where this is somewhat of a successful formula. So in Street Fighter, you have the Capcom Pro Tour, and as far as I know, you have quite a few Capcom official sponsored tournaments and invitationals, which get pretty high viewership. You also have chess, where chess, the highest viewed tournaments, tend to be invitationals. And I really don't see why, if let's say we have a Tekken 8 Invitational or a Tekken 7 Invitational in between EVO and the TWT finals that has the top 30 or top 20 even players from around the nation come and compete, maybe in a special format such as in Red Bull Golden Letters, where Tekken is played with some interesting rule twists, how that wouldn't generate the huge numbers we see from the TWT finals, like over 100K viewers on Twitch, and so on and so forth. One, that not only generates viewers, that also generates more ad revenue, which is more justification to um, the board of directors at Bandai Namco that we should be putting more money into these events, and so on and so forth. Another thing I think Bandai Namco could be doing better is to actually draw inspiration from chess. So I'm a decent chess fan. I'm not like a crazy chess fan, but I will play it and I will consume some YouTube content from like the bigger creators like Gotham Chess or Again Matter. And note, I'm not naive. I know chess has almost literally a 1,000 year head start to Tekken, so I don't think that all the opportunities or all the strategies that would work in chess would necessarily work in Tekken as far as growth is concerned and as far as what major companies can do to help grow the sport. of chess. But one thing that I think Bandai Namco could definitely do is focus a little more, and this, I'm not sure how well this will be received, but focus a little more on things like official rankings or official ratings and kind of general, like a more official facade around Tekken performances. So right now we have the Tekken World Tour Finals ranking. However, that doesn't really capture the same kind of thing as something like the chess rating system, for example. So the chess rating system, for those who don't know, is called ELO, where basically it's a mathematical formula where the more games you win against people who are of a similar ELO, the higher number associated with your skill will kind of like, or will go. That wasn't proper English. The number associated with your skill will go up. So, for example, if I'm ELO 1000 and I play someone ELO 1000 and I win, I'll get 5 points. If I'm ELO 1000 and I play someone rated 2000 and I win, I'll get maybe 50 points. And it depends on how many games you've played. It depends on if you win or lose or draw, and all of these things. However, it is a significantly better kind of way of capturing skill, I would argue, than something like a global rankings that have to do mainly with how much you travel as well as what opportunities are within your region. Or, for example, the Tekken ranking system, where Tekken prowess is largely computed from not just win loss, but character rank as well as like sidestepping proficiency. This similar to character rank, there's kind of an issue there where yes, character rank is a good indicator of kind of general skill in the game. However, when you get to the top, everybody's the same rank, right? Street Fighter 6 was having this problem with Masters rank, and I believe they're adding a new rank called Legend, if I'm not wrong, because basically they're saying the difference between the average Tekken God Omega and the top players who are also Tekken God Omega is just too massive. It's just too massive. Similarly, the average Masters player or the lower level Masters player and the top player who's also Masters was just too massive. And Tekken prowess, similarly, a huge issue with it from a way of estimating a player's skill is in Tekken, right? There are character specialists. So no matter what Boa Love B does, he's a really good player. He basically only plays Kazuya, as far as I know. And if he does play other Mishimas or other characters, um, it's rare, it's seldom, and I'm guessing he's nowhere near as good as he is as with Kazuya. But is Kazuya is good enough to like compete with even players like me in first to fives? So I think there should be somewhat of like an elo metric or something of a more consistent skill metric where I can look at a leaderboard and get a better idea of, okay, this player is kind of this skill level. And another advantage that has in terms of growth is content creation. So a huge source of content creation in the chess world is like targeted towards specific elo ranges. So how to become 1200 or something, or like I'm a 2000 player. So I feel I have enough cachet to be giving advice to X amount of players, right? So in Tekken, there's kind of like a ambiguity of like, okay, clearly you are good. Like, how good is this player with respect to this player when they're making content? Does that matter? Is there a sense of like, okay, I should be listening to what this person is saying? And I think in general there is, but I don't think it's as strong as something like chess. And just the amount of clickbait you get from like different elo stuff, I think is even stronger than different rankings, partially because I think we all know the person who is, not the highest rank kind of fluctuates all over the place, but in tournament they're killing it. Or like when they enter a tournament, they like turn the switch on and try really hard and stuff like that. And so the last thing I kind of want to talk about today in regards to this 4Cs and the corporate side of things is putting more money towards content creation. And I think that the content creators in the Tekken space are really great, and I think there's a lot of them. And I don't see a downside or a negative of Tekken, the Tekken team at Bandai Namco putting money towards certain content creators or reaching out and saying, hey, do you want to partner somewhat full time? Or hey, do you want to post your content to the Tekken website? Why does the Tekken website not have a content page or like a community directory page where Tekken posts content creators' videos directly to feeds there? I think this is, again, something perfectly within the means of Bandai Namco and could go a long way of, oh, I saw IGN's Tekken 8 preview. I'm going to go to the Tekken 8 website. Boom, there's a content tab, and I'm exposed to the awesome community of content creators. So while there is one or two more things I want to talk about, especially as it relates to what things could happen or could be done to kind of promote the growth of Tekken and promote the enjoyment of being part of the Tekken community, I'm actually going to save it to another episode because I want to do a bit more of a deep dive into one thing in particular. But for today, thanks for listening. As always, I hope you're doing great. The fall is happening, so depending on where you live, you're surrounded by beautiful foliage, or maybe it's just kind of gray and rainy. But let's try and stay positive as winter approaches, and have a great day.